my name is Kathy Nelson, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. We are a global education association I started in 2009, so it's dawned on me it's almost 15 years. So over the past 14 years, we have experienced tremendous growth, and the need is only increasing. We offer weekly classes, an annual educational conference, professional certification, a supportive, engaged community for the growing career of professional photo organizers. I'm also the author of 2 books, Photo Organizing Made Easy, Going from Overwhelmed to Overjoyed, and a business roadmap for professional photo organizers, everything you need to grow and start a thriving photo organizing business. So today, as I go through this presentation, if you have questions, go ahead, put them in the chat. We'll have plenty of time to answer your questions, and it's always helpful. I can anticipate questions. I've been doing this for a long time, but it's always great for you to tell us, ask the questions that you have, and we will give you an honest answer. So today, I'm going to share 3 things with you: the top 10 reasons people hire a professional photo manager, what it takes to be successful, and why joining the Photo Managers is a worthwhile investment. And that's a great photograph from our conference. You can see people having fun taking selfies of themselves. So we live in an increasingly complex technical world. Wouldn't you all agree with that? It gets, it changes almost every day, it feels like. Yet as human beings, the one thing that has not changed is our need to tell a story. It's through stories that we connect. And one of the ways we tell our stories, I believe, is through our photos, videos, and memorabilia. Yet most people admit to feeling overwhelmed by their growing photo collections, right? They just don't have time to sort through and organize the thousands upon thousands of photos they are accumulating, let alone print them. The result is a consumer who is overwhelmed and paralyzed. In addition to digital photos, hundreds of thousands of printed photos languish in shoeboxes and bins. Videos of birthday parties, babies' first steps, and weddings are trapped on outdated media formats. Who has a camcorder or VCR tape any longer? And unfortunately, every day, photos and videos that people cherish are more at risk of being lost due to increasing weather extremes and technology mishaps. This past few months, we've witnessed families losing everything in the fires in Malibu, fires in Washington State, British Columbia, hurricanes, California, tornadoes on the East Coast. And so the goal here of this presentation isn't to create fear, but the need is real, and people are realizing that they need to act now before it's too late. Thus, the need for a solution has emerged, and photo organizers are stepping in to fill that need. There are now hundreds of professional photo organizers all around the world offering a variety of solutions. And if you're wondering why and who hires a photo manager, I'm here to tell you the most common reasons and who are the client demographics. So here are the reasons people hire a photo manager. The first reason can be because they are completely overwhelmed with all their digital photos. With the advent of the smartphone and digital cameras, people are taking more photos than ever before. Managing and organizing these digital images is pretty quickly becomes overwhelming, right? The client who hires somebody for this is usually a busy professional mom. She cares deeply about photos, but she just doesn't have time. A photo organizer will create a plan, gather all her photos into a digital photo hub, remove the duplicates, and create an easy-to-locate, shareable collection using different software based on the client's skill level. So that's one of the reasons and one of the ways that people help. A second way and reason people hire somebody is preservation. Many families have old analog photos, slides, and negatives that have been deteriorating over time. Professional photo organizers can help digitize and preserve those valuable memories for future generations. This client ranges in age from 55 to 90. They may be ready to downsize and wondering who cares about the family photos. A photo organizer meets with the client to create a plan, and that often includes scanning. I can speak about this firsthand many, many times over, but even last night, I got a phone call from somebody. So I have stopped being a professional photo organizer, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, because I've been busy growing this organization. But somebody had my name from a long time ago, and this is the second time I've spoken with her. And she was so worried because she's now getting, her and her husband are moving to must be downsizing, and the mover was coming today, and she had bins and bins of photos. with telling me all about how the photos were still in the envelopes that she had, and she had put the dates on the back, and just really wanting to understand what it is that we could do, or I could, I'm going to have somebody else help her, but just, and so relieved as I talked her through the anxiety and helped her realize it's okay, make sure that they put those photo bins in a safe place in your storage, and we will come pick them up, and, and walked her through the process of what would happen. So the need is real, and, and a lot of people think they're the only ones, but, hundreds and hundreds, and especially today with the downsizing baby boomer population, it's a huge market. Memorabilia management is another big one. People often have photos and related memorabilia, such as letters or certificates, keepsakes. Organizers can help curate and preserve those items in a meaningful way. This client is often in their 40s and 50s. A parent may have recently passed away, or kids are leaving home and they want to ensure they don't lose access to the items that they cared about. Another time people will hire somebody is special occasions. During events like weddings, reunions, and milestone birthdays, people often take a large number of photos. Professional photo organizers can help create organized and curated collections from these events. This client is all ages, and a photo organizer will often create a keepsake photo book or video montage. Again, here's another example of my own personal experience with this. A very dear friend of mine's husband passed away suddenly this weekend. He was 54, 3 amazing boys. And, I sat there in stunned silence, just hard to grasp that loss that that family is feeling. And the one thing I could say to her was a quick text saying, Tammy, I'm just devastated by this news, but I'm here if you need help with the photos, because it's something tangible that I knew I could do. And I know that the celebration of life ceremony will be coming. And that's a time when people really need help with their photos. And so there's a perfect example. We say special occasions, it's a sad occasion, but it's not uncommon time. Also, when people look to photos to bring some kind of sense of order or peace or emotion to an experience, right? Another reason is time constraints, right? People are increasingly busy with their professional and personal lives with little time to sort through and organize their photos. These clients are single and working professionals and people who invest their money into travel, pets, and hobbies. Again, so this audience is all different ages, but definitely I work out at a gym actually I was joking the other day with a group of, they're all in their late 30s, early 40s. They've chosen not to have kids, and they travel quite a bit. They all have pets that they talk about all the time, and they have a really big expendable income, and they're busy. And so they're a perfect client for this kind of work. Technology challenges. Keeping up with changing technology, software, and storage options for digital photos can be daunting. Professional organizers can offer expertise in this area. The client just needs help with technology, and they'll pay for coaching and one-on-one assistance. Now, as I walk you through this process, I want to stress that you do not need to offer all these services I'm showcasing. Many professionals start out offering a lot of different things, but as their businesses grow, they focus on what they really love. And don't panic if you don't know how to do a lot of the things I'm talking about. We'll talk in a minute about the value of membership and how we help people learn how to do these things and offering to people. Then there's the emotional value, right? Photos carry deep emotional significance for individuals and families. Professional organizers can help create organized systems that preserve the emotional connection tied to these images. Sometimes it's just personal projects, right? Some individuals may want to create albums, scrapbooks, or multimedia presentations from their photos, and people can assist, professionals can help with those creative endeavors. Now, this is a big market here, the downsizing and moving people. When people downsize their homes and moves, they often face the challenge deciding what to keep and how to organize their photos and memorabilia. That was a perfect example. Like I just mentioned, the woman, she called me last night and the movers were coming today. Part of me thought, you should have called me like a month ago and we could have actually taken those photos away for you and not had that extra added step where they're going to be added to that storage unit. But she took the time out of that busy moment and to call me because, when people are downsizing and moving, it's a very emotional time. They're leaving behind usually, homes that they've lived in with their families for decades sometimes. And this is a critical time to step in and really help people during that time. And then last of all, and I think one that is really growing, it's called legacy planning. And we actually at the Photo Managers are very invested in creating a new kind of a certification program around legacy planning. There's a lot of conversation happening within our organization. People want to ensure that their visual legacies are well organized and can be passed down for future generations. This is where professional photo organizers can really assist by creating long-term plans with people. It's a really valuable service, right, as you help families tackle these challenges to create organized, meaningful, and accessible collections for their visual memories. So we have a member that's passing away from a glioblastoma brain tumor who just offered a scholarship to our conference out of her own funds, because she really has been walking the walk of creating her legacy for her children who are young adults, and spending a lot of time doing the work that she loves so that they have access to her stories and things into the future. And so she's become real passionate about that, and a lot of our members are. So we are, like I mentioned, this is a growing area. I think people are looking for assistance in this, and we're creating additional training and a lot of resources around that. So at this point, these are the 10, 10 of the reasons. There's always many other reasons than these, but don't take my word for it. I'm going to have Isabel link in the chat. We did a webinar, if you weren't on that last week, this month during Save Your Photos Month in September, where we actually had 4 professional photo organizers invite their clients, and we interviewed their clients about what the process was like and how they felt having their photos organized. So watch that at your leisure. I think you'll find it really moving. We loved these clients. They shared. It was just a great moment to hear from clients, and for their photo managers who had worked with them, to hear how much their clients appreciated the work that they did for them. So now, if you don't know how to do many of these services I mentioned, that's okay. Remember, that's where membership with the photo managers really makes all the difference. Because before I share how the photo managers equip you with the skills to start a business, I want to share 4 characteristics that we've noticed over the years. So as I share this list, be honest with yourself, because starting and owning your own business takes a lot of tenacity, courage, and commitment. So successful photo managers, as I think about the people I've known all these years and the hundreds of people that we've helped start, and the handful too that have decided this wasn't for them, because that has happened for sure. These are the skills that people usually definitely demonstrate. They're curious about people, history, and ideas. When you're talking with a family or a business about their photo collection, you're going to be hearing their stories, right? What is it that they photograph? Do they photograph travel? Do they photograph significant events, holidays? And so you need to have a curiosity about people's lives and about the stories that they're going to tell you. I find that fascinating, and I love to listen to those stories. That leads us to being passionate about photos and stories. A lot of our members, they become very close to their clients. It becomes a real personal relationship, because when somebody turns their photo collection over to you, it's an entry into their life, which is why we'll talk in a little bit about why certification and our code of ethics is so critically important in this profession. You also need to be a lifelong learner. You need to be open to researching, learning, and taking a breath when things don't work the way that you want, or maybe you don't know what's happening, because technology keeps changing. And we do our best to keep up with changing technology. We have an amazingly supportive community that helps one another. But there's going to be moments when you might have a client give you, an old CD or a floppy disk drive that you don't know what do I do with this? The good news is you are able to ask questions on our private members only Facebook group and get a lot of support and answers to any of the questions. That's what's going to come your way. But again, it takes that needs that ability to say, I know that I don't know all the answers. It makes me maybe a little anxious. I like to be a person in charge and know the answers, but I'm willing to find answers. And so sometimes it requires you Googling a lot to get the answers. And the good news is the client is paying you to take the time to find those answers. That's the whole idea of why they're paying you. And then last of all, you don't need to be tech savvy right away, but you do need to, again, like I mentioned, be willing to learn new technology, because there's often a learning curve. So again, you don't have to know all the answers and know how to, manage an iPhoto library or, Adobe Photoshop or all those different things, but you do, but you're open to learning about that. So if you said yes to those personality traits, then you're going to be a great fit. So now let's talk about the photo managers, who we are, and why what we do is integral to the success of this growing profession. So like I mentioned, we are a global organization that serves professional photo organizers through training, certification, partnerships, and an educational conference. We currently have over 700 professionals from 21 different countries. We just added that up, who share the same passion. Right now, the majority are in the US and Canada, but we just had in the EU, they met in London. I think there were 22 members from throughout the EU, and also one member that came up from South Africa. And they met for a weekend to share with each other and to support one another. So it is a growing international organization as well. But what they share in common is they have a desire to help people and businesses curate their collections so they can share their stories. So what does it cost to be a member of the Photo Managers? We charge an annual membership fee, which can be paid quarterly at $175 a quarter, or you can save $100 and pay the $599 annually. And what does that give you, right? That gives you access to all our support, training, and resources. So you might be asking yourself, because I would, is why would you pay the Photo Managers? You know, what's your ROI, or what's the value to you? So here are some of the benefits to membership. And I like to joke that these are the things that keep me up at night. Like, what is it? We're in business to help, to be supportive to our members, right? That's what we exist for. So our job and my team's job is to make sure that we are constantly providing you with great value so that you stay a member. And fortunately, we're really fortunate that our members have many year long-term members and quite a few new members joining all the time. And because we take this so seriously. So one of the things we do right off the bat is what we call it, like giving you a business in a box, which we don't really send you a box, but we've all walked the walk. So we come alongside you to ensure a quicker route to success. In the box, kind of, not really a box, we previewed the following. Number one, I think the number one thing that people say they love most about membership is our community. Our overall philosophy is a rising tide lifts all boats, and we are collaborative, not competitive. There are hundreds of thousands of more clients than there are Photo Managers out there. We work really hard to build this community. We do it through, when you join, you'll be immediately introduced to a regional leader. They do monthly webinar, remote Zoom meetings for different regions of the country and the world, where you'll meet members who live within, sometimes like when we have the one area of the country, it's called the, I'm just drawing a blank, the 4 states, I forget what they call it, but it's New Mexico, Arizona, you know, those 4 states, the 4 corners they call themselves, right? So, I mean, those are 4 big states, right? So, or our New England group that meets, or our Mid-Atlantic group that meets. That's how there's not, you know, there's not one state yet that has its own regional group, but we connect you with that group. It's a chance to learn from other members, form relationships and things like that. We also have a private members only Facebook group, which is like a 24-hour support hotline. That's where people post pictures, ask questions, and get answers all the time and support in any kind of problems that they're running up against. We also offer monthly networking meetings, which we call our huddles, and they're theme-based, where you come into a meeting and you talk about how do you know about how to price yourself? How do you answer the question, what do you do? And so it's a great networking opportunity. And I tell you, after COVID, we've really discovered how valuable these people are, so much more comfortable now with these kind of virtual meetings. And we also have a new member mentorship program. We have experienced members who have signed up to mentor new members. It's a four meeting time frame where you get to meet, you know, we put you on a list and we'll connect you with somebody. And so we do a lot of things around this concept of community. But what really I think is most important is education. That's one of our core values. Every month we do monthly training webinars on all different topics, and we bring in subject matter experts. I know, for instance, for the month of November, we're going to be talking a lot about using Canva. We've had requests, and so members, we have 2 different webinars where people are going to be teaching about Canva. Earlier this in June, we did a whole series on what kind of business insurance do you need. We do marketing webinars, and we also do deep dive webinars into how to use different products and things like that. The great news is they're always recorded and they go into our training vault, which you can then search by topic. So we have many years of training and things like that that you can have easy access to. That also brings me to certification. So we established this professional certification early on, as a way to ensure that the integrity of the work that you do. That people, it's very personal, and if people are turning over their photo collection to you, you need to understand privacy issues and to agree to best practices. And so the certification teaches you best practices. We don't teach you how to do the actual work of photo organizing. It's really about, what do you do if you find a professional photographer's photos in a client's collection? What does that mean in terms of printing rights and what DPI should you be scanning out? What then takes the time is for you to document a project from start to finish with a client, a paid client. And the reason for that documentation is we know what you need to do to be successful. We know that if you take a client's photo collection and you're working on it, that they need touch points throughout the way to know that you're there working with them. So we kind of guide you through that whole process. We want you to show us how you invoice the client, what your communications practices. At that point, then you submit all that work, then we review it, we check your references, you have an interview with me. At that point, you are a certified pro. People can then find you on our website. The big question people always ask me is, well, how long does that take? We've had members become certified in, a month, and we've had members that it can take 2 to 3 years. We are not going to be looking, asking you like, when are you going to be certified? That's really an option. Sometimes it takes time to feel the confidence to do that. And so, but the work of going through the process is really worthwhile and something that we really stress. And then last of all, there's so many more benefits than I'm just mentioning, but I'm knowing people's attention spans, I've been speeding these presentations up, is partnerships. You get significant discounts from our partners, and we have amazing partners. Isabel's going to put a little QR code in the chat where you can see our partner guide, and we've grayed out what all the discounts are from those companies. But for instance, Archival Methods, which is a great company that has photo-safe boxes and things, gives you a 40%, you're paying wholesale 40% off retail. We also, here's a great picture of Robert of Projector, really great company that's a streaming company for home movies. He was at our conference. He's working really closely with members to offer all sorts of services. It's another added value that you can bring to your customers. So we love our we love our partnerships, and a great chance to meet them is at our annual educational conference, which happens every year. We have, it'll be in April in Columbus, Ohio. We just put up the breakout sessions, who our keynote speakers are. We do it both in person, also virtually. So you definitely want to check that out. We really encourage members to join. A lot of these photographs you're seeing come from our conference last year in Orlando. But there's nothing more fun than gathering with people who have the same passion that you do and learning from one another. And lots of our members come year after year. They never want to miss conference. So ideally, you're asking questions in the chat because we're coming to a close here, but there's always needs to be an offer, right? People want to feel like an incentive, and we know it takes time to think about this, but if you would like to join, we would love to welcome you. And if you join by the end of October, you'll receive a free copy of my book that I co-wrote with Jill Yesko, who's a member. Everything you need to grow and start a thriving photo organizing business. Lots of handouts and downloads there. But what's also significant is every November we do an educational conference about pricing, talking all about money, because that's always such a hard issue for people. And how do you actually make money? And so we have what we call a snapshot pass. It's $49, and you'll be able to attend one of these training topics. And these are case studies taught by our members, and you'll be able to pick one of these. They include everything from a professional talking about how she creates, taking a lifetime of photos into a photo book, how she prices it. We have unlocking precious memories in home movies, how you can make a good living with that process, how to find corporate clients, the evolution of a $50,000 photo organizing project that many of our members have done some of these big projects. And also, managing a growing digital collection. So we'll send you the descriptions. You can pick which one you like and attend for free. So that's a great gift if you join by the end of October. Now, if you have more questions, check out these QR codes. Again, use your phone. We do have on our YouTube channel. Every month, I have asked people to do what I call career advice from a pro, where I interview professionals from all different backgrounds, and I always ask them the same 5 questions. What do you love about your business? What don't you like about your business? How do you find clients? How has being a member of the Photo Managers been helpful? And tell us a little bit about your background. We used to keep that gated in our own community, but we realized, wow, it's wonderful. It's a great way to meet and hear from professionals from all different walks of life, and hopefully find somebody that you connect with. You can also set up a 15-minute call with me if you want to talk one-on-one and ask real personal questions. I'm happy to do that. And that link will take you to my calendar. You just put your information in and I give you a call. And then we also have a great QR code there, which has, we've asked our members to provide videos and things about their joy in doing the business. So at that point, I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see, do we have questions, Isabel, that have come in?
Yes, we do. Let me see. So the first one is, how do photo managers charge? Do they charge by the hour or by the number of photos?
Oh, well, that's a great question. It varies. So both. For instance, when you're doing a scanning, most of our members charge per scan and they look for the competitive rate and then they build their pricing accordingly. But they would charge hourly for like taking photos out of an album, putting photos back in an album. That's just on the scanning. So most people do not want to be like feeling like they're being nickeled and dimed by an hour, but you do want to know how long things take you so that you can start setting packaging pricing. And so we do a lot of training on that, but most people sell, then eventually they'll say like a 5-hour package, a 10-hour, a 15-hour package, and you'll get better at understanding how long things take as you go through the process of experimenting and timing yourself.
And is there a best time to join, such as the 1st of 2024?
No, I don't. I think the best time to join is when you're ready to join. I think, now could be a good time to join, and giving yourself permission to join now, start going through the learning process. Especially if you've never set up a business, you're going to want to name your business, get your credit card set up, checking account, think about your invoicing, start telling family and friends, and then launch your business at the first of the year is kind of like a new year to get started. So there's really no perfect time to get started.
And another question, which is one we actually get quite often, is how does this type of service that photo managers offer compete with the big box stores that offer digitizing services? How do you gain an edge?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, because that, first of all, the big box stores, I call it's a race to the bottom of lowest price. Many of our members, we call it a white glove service, pick up and delivery. I know a lot of our members, within a certain amount, we will pick up your photos, get to know you. Like the woman I talked to yesterday, she's not going to box up those big bins of photos and send it off to some company that she's never heard of. Also, a lot of those companies start out advertising a very low price, but it's like the airlines. It's like if you ever try to book a flight on Spirit Air or different things, right? It's like, oh, it's like $99 round trip. And then, oh, do you want a glass of water? That's, or you want to bring on a purse. Oh, and then it's the same thing with those box stores. If you want your photos scanned at higher than a 300 DPI, if you want them on a flash drive, or if you want them. Another thing is those box stores don't put the photos in order. And we also, like when I was talking to that woman yesterday, she said, I think I have at least 10,000 photos. I said, we don't want to scan 10,000 photos. We're just going to recreate for you the same mess that you have digitally. We're going to curate that collection and narrow it down ideally to your best 25 to 3,000 photos that you really care about and want to see into the future. She loved that concept once I explained to her how that would work. So again, those are all ways that you separate yourself from the big box stores. And also people like working with people they know in their own community and things like that. Though we do have members who have clients ship them things. That's not, we're not opposed to shipping, but again, you're going to talk to them how to ship it correctly and go through that whole process with them.
And so what would the starting price be for working with a photo manager? Is it thousands of dollars?
Oh, that's well, it depends on the project. I mean, my son does this full time now. I stopped home yesterday. He actually has his scanning equipment set up in our basement, and he had like 3 jobs this week that he was telling me about. One was just a photo restoration that was probably, I don't know, I think $75 or something. And then he also had one where he does the home movie conversion himself. So I think he converted 4 tapes. And then this job that I was talking to this woman about, I knew I couldn't quote her exactly without seeing it, but I told her at least $1,500 to $2,500 to do to get started in that project, and that made sense to her. So hopefully that gives you like kind of it really ranges on what the level of work that the client needs. A lot of times too, people will start out kind of with a small project, and then they build trust in you, right? And over time, as they build trust, then usually these projects get bigger and bigger and people come back with more and more work. But at first they want to kind of get to know you. And so most of the time they might start out with something smaller, and then as their confidence level increases, they continue to bring you in more business.
And I'll also add another thing, that most of the work that photo managers do is not time sensitive. There are sometimes rush jobs for certain situations, but generally they're not time sensitive projects. So if budget is a concern to the client, it can often be chunked into several months or years and be a long-term project versus one that is done quicker, if that works for the budget for the client. The next question is, after becoming a member, are there particular learning tracks, especially for someone with no knowledge?
Yes, and we're working really hard on that actually. So we divide our members up, and we're into members kind of in training and then experienced members. So there are two different kind of skill sets and knowledge, right? And most people in the first year or two, you're kind of in that learning a lot stage. And we really also, that's a good time to we try and team people up with like buddy systems where you meet other members who are learning at the same pace that you are. And then eventually, as you get more and more experience, you'll find that you're moving into different areas of, like I mentioned, this whole legacy piece of it. The members that are kind of driving this new approach are very experienced members who have a lot of clients, a lot of experience, and finding their passion has really been around this legacy keeping piece. So that's kind of an example of how your business that you offer will change and grow as you change as well. And we walk along, we work with both, all different levels of membership.
Yeah, and as far as coming in with no knowledge, we have the whole training available to you, but then also we have a basic business course that teaches you, how to start a business, get set up with a name, an LLC, choosing the right services, choosing your pricing, and those types of details. And then we have 2 basic courses on digital photo organizing and printed photo organizing. So those are sort of some basic ones that if you're coming in with absolutely no knowledge, that's where you can get started.
And that's included in your membership. There's no additional, thanks for mentioning, I forgot, we need to add that to this deck. This is kind of a new approach too, in terms of how we tell people about the business. We used to kind of take you through all the things, but all that's on our website, and there's a lot of classes, and it's all there both to get the new member. And we added that business basics course a few years ago when we realized that was another challenge. Like, do I need an LLC? And so we have all that training as well included in membership.
The next question from Elena, and Elena actually joined at the end of September. So a lot of these questions I think will be answered if you join the new member orientation at the end of this month. But considering that there are so many great areas to offer services, how do you decide where to start? Elena's saying that she's the kind of person that can get caught up in the learning and needs the confidence to just jump in, but feels overwhelmed and not educated enough.
Yeah, I'd definitely attend our new member orientation, because I talk a lot about that, the importance of just saying yes. Really, if you can find your first client, or whether you're the first one, you start where they are and what they need. Because I always tell people, if I didn't just start, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And my first client was actually when somebody convinced me that I should make an album for them, and I started a business, wanted me to make a video montage. It was a travel agent, and I had never made a video montage. I didn't know anything about how to do that. And I always say to people, I just say yes, and then figure it out. I said, yes, I can do this for you. I've never done it. I can learn though, if that's okay with you. And she was fine with that. And so I hope that's helpful. Or is there something that intrigues you that as we're speaking, do you think, wow, I think I really like that? I also find that a lot of times, depending on your technology background and your skill set with digital, the whole digital world, sometimes starting with analog and printed photos, because they're tactile, you can touch them and see them and feel them. Some people find that a little bit more comforting as a place to start.
And a question, if you're just starting to organize and curate your own photo collection, would you recommend waiting until that's done before starting your own business?
No, because that takes for a really long time. And most of us will confess as photo organizers that our own photos aren't organized. This is a business. So I want you to think about, if you're starting a business where you want to make income and things like that. You need to get clients, and you'll probably learn faster when when it's somebody else's photos that you're learning about than you would with your own. So I don't recommend, because I think some people will never get started at that if you take it from that perspective.
And what's a ballpark number for startup costs to buy the scanning and movie transfer equipment?
The movie transfer is not very expensive because you're just buying old VCRs and things. But I'm probably, and if you're going to enter into offering that, but I would think if you start with the basic V600 flatbed scanner that we recommend, before you upgrade into the more expensive scanners, which you will in time, but you want to have the business. So it's going to be some tediousness to the process to start, but that's like $249. So probably in membership, and then some classes and stuff, getting a website set up and things like that, $1,000 to, maybe $1,000, $1,500. Some people, you don't have to start with all of these things. You don't have to have a website to get started. You don't have to, but definitely if you're going to be doing photos, you want to start with a good flatbed scanner. And that one is about $299. So hopefully it's a low cost. It's not a high startup cost for most new businesses. And then we really recommend that you think about profitability right off the bat, and you invest, you pay yourself some, but you also then reinvest back in the business, but you don't overspend before you're ready.
And I also added a document that we have on the essential startup cost that walks through this in a little bit more detail. I added that in the chat for anyone who wants to download that. And other than that, we don't currently have any other questions. We did have one about how to apply for the Legacy Scholarship, and I just let that person know that the 2024 recipient has been chosen, so we won't be looking to award someone until 2025, but the link is in the chat if anyone wants to learn more about the scholarship. Oh, Diane has a question. Do you have insurance to cover if something happens to the photos you're working with?
Yeah, so one thing we've learned, that insurance companies say that photos are priceless. So you just want to have basic business insurance, and then we guide you and talk you through you're going to create a contract for the client that they sign off, acknowledging that, they've turned over these photos to you. And then also we really encourage you to do an inventory, and we have the forms and stuff for you to do to give to the client. Like you've taken, I don't know, 3 external hard drives and dotted this, 4 albums and different things like that. They sign off agreements. So you really are just documenting the process. And then your protection comes from the basic business insurance around, whether your computer crashes and things. But unfortunately, photos aren't considered, there's no insurance company that will put a dollar value on a photo collection. All right.
It looks like that's everything in the chat. And if there's anything that we didn't answer, I'm going to also include our email, and you can reach out and I'll answer any additional questions that you have.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly put back here the QR codes. You can set up a 15-minute call with myself. And you can, so if you have any more questions like that, we're happy to answer your questions. We understand this is a commitment. We're 100% here for you. We're happy to, walk you through the process in whatever way that we can to support you. And we'd love to welcome you. We have an average of about 15 to 20 new members join per month, so you won't be alone. And we definitely connect you through our new member orientation and ways like that we try to make sure that new members feel immediately connected to the community and supported and not overwhelmed. We work really hard to help to help you take deep breaths. And it's an amazing business. And the first few months are a little overwhelming as you're thinking about so many things, but I promise you it's meaningful work. And the clients, as you watch that video, because you'll see how happy the clients all are. And they were not expecting perfection from their photo organizers, and they're thrilled to have this project done. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Isabel. And we hope to welcome you soon. And that October special is a really good deal for the Profitability Live. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.